Folks, hello and welcome to another video. We are doing some Q&As today. It is my birthday today and I have a very special birthday cup of tea sitting right next to me. It is a extra large Yorkshire tea. Just in case any of your questions make me want to forget myself, to be honest with you. Because I've heard there's going to be some really weird ones coming in, so we'll see. I mean, weird... Do you remember that part in Mass Effect 3 where Joker says something weird and he says, I know that's weird, and Shepard says, not for you, right? I get that all the time. Whenever you guys send me a message and it's like, oh, North, I know this is weird, but you know, I'm like, yeah, not for you guys. Not for you guys. You're all a beautiful odd bunch. Anyway, let's get into the Q&A, shall we? If you want to send me questions to the Q&A, it is a special perk that you get on the Patreon. If you want to go over there and subscribe, whatever amount you want, it can be 2 pence, it can be whatever. Just do that, so I know I get to speak to people one-on-one more on there than I do anywhere else. Come on there, have a little word with me, and we can talk about anything that you like. Also, the audio should be kind of sorted out because I've put it on a much higher bandwidth than what we normally get. So hopefully that means that you guys are going to be able to hear me a lot clearer. But anyway, we'll see. So, first things first. Evening Northern, just wanted to let you know I've upped my monthly patronage. Okay, that's lovely. Don't need to do that. Also a question for your Q&A, but thank you very much, man. Also a question for your Q&A. What would your Mount Rushmore of comedians be? Mine would be Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Patrice O'Neill, and Billy Connolly. All the best, man. Cool. I love comedy. It's one of the things that I get most out of in life. Especially, I love listening to comedians when they're not on stage. Do you know what I mean? In podcast form. And the thing is, back in the day, there was a show called... what was it called? Opie and Anthony, back in the day. And anybody who was around for that back then, you know how legendary those days were, right? I was not around back then, but I have listened to most of the shows since. This is like 2009, 2010 sort of a time. So, my Mount Rushmore would be Bill Burr, number 1. Just hilarious. Like, I just love listening to him. And it's really cool when you find somebody with a very similar outlook to life and who even talks in a similar way. I've had a lot of people say that, oh yeah, you can tell why you like Bill Burr, because like even when in my normal conversations, like I kind of gel quite well with him. Met him as well. Very nice bloke. Very, very, very nice bloke. Very appreciative of what he has, which is nice. So Bill Burr, Bill Burr, Patrice O'Neill, definitely. Patrice O'Neill's up there. If you want to know how to get with and stay with women, or make them, or be more desirable as a person, right? Go and listen to Patrice O'Neill. Because 95% of what he says is gold. Other 5%, bit too much, and he's even said that, in his later years, he said, yeah, wasn't really, some of the stuff I said wasn't great, but like 95% of it I stand by, and yeah, he's right, and you should be able to pick out what's bullshit by listening to him. But the other 95% of what he says is absolutely spot on. And not only that, he's a very funny guy, and his stand-up, Elephant in the Room, is probably... It's not the funniest entire show, but the first 10 minutes of Elephant in the Room is probably some of the best crowd work I've ever seen from any comedian ever. And I watch everybody's specials. So go and watch Elephant in the Room at least for the first 10 minutes. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I need 4, don't I? So there's 2. Who else do I really like watching? So a lot of comedians come across as quite like arrogant and up themselves, I don't like those kind of comedians. Even if they're putting it on and it's not real, I just don't like it. It just doesn't gel with me. Do you know what? Ross Noble? I don't know why. It just makes me chuckle every single time I see him. And those are 3 very different comedians as well, which I'm quite happy with. But yeah, Ross Noble, definitely. I think he's hilarious. Back in the day, he got me through some tough times when I was a kid, and I thought that I knew everything and the world owed me a living. which it doesn't. And who else? Number 4 would be... I know I'm going to think of another one later on. I'm going to go, oh my god. Oh my god, why didn't I say him? So, Bill Burr we've done. Patrice O'Neill we've done. I'm going to have to come back to you on the number 4. I'm going to say Richard Pryor for now. But I know there's another one that I probably like a lot more that I'm gonna come back to you. I'll come back to you on that one. But an amazing question. Cheers, dude. How do you find time to work on hobby projects? As I find that if I want to get some squads painted, I need to force myself to start painting to get it done. Quite simply, man, it's about starting. It's just about starting. It's not about doing anything else. It's literally about starting. As soon as you start, you'll be on the high road to success, man. You really are. It's all about... It's kind of like writing, right? I've said this before about The Dark Tower, about Stephen King's The Dark Tower. It's a book for writers, not for anybody else, really. And anyone can read it, obviously, but it's a book for other artists and writers, right? Because The Dark Tower is you being obsessed with doing the most amazing piece of work that you can. Whereas the message of The Dark Tower is, forget about all that, just start, and it'll come to you, right? Same as painting, mate. Same as painting. Just start. That's what I do. Even if I'm not feeling it, I'll set my paints out, I'll start, and then 2 hours go by, and I've done a squad, and I'm like, or at least one part of a squad, you know. I'm like, whoa. You know, the metal work and all these models are done, and I'm ready to go do something else now, right? Just start. Literally just start. Force your way through it. It's not like depression, you know, just force your way through it. Do you have any plans of doing hobby streams on the weekend? It would be a good way to help others clear their own backlog of models, and maybe viewers could call in for a live story. That's a very good suggestion. Cheers, mate. Yeah, really cool suggestion. When I move, eventually I'm going to move this year. I'm going to have my own office and my own hobby space. So I've already talked to Composite Games about getting some equipment and things like that I can do some stuff with. So I'm gonna be doing that. So eventually, yeah, this year at some point, my big plan for the channel is to start doing hobby streams where I'm painting under a camera. And you can all talk to me and have a laugh, and we can have a cup of tea and chat and talk about things, right? We can clear our backlog together. That's one thing. I would also really much like to do a live podcast thing where people book in and they can come in and anonymously, you know, they can come in and get advice from me one-on-one whilst we're talking, and you guys can do hobby to that. Always about doing more stuff for you so you can get into the hobby. Definitely, man. Always. So, yeah. That is in the pipeline. Okay. I will read that one later on. Long-time listeners have heard about your favourite factions and your favourite Space Marine Legion, which is the Iron Warriors. But far more importantly, we need to know which is your favourite Guard Regiment and why. Okay. Alrighty. I would have said... why do I always get confused about the Krieg? I would have said Krieg, but they're memed to death and back. They are memed so much, it gets absolutely obnoxious. So instead of Krieg, I'm going to say Steel Legion Armageddon. I'm going to say Steel Legion Armageddon. They have the same aesthetic as Krieg, but they're not as over the top and, you know, mental 40k as Krieg are, you know. And also they don't keep losing, which is another thing. That's what Krieg are all about, is losing all of their men. Steel Legion don't do that. Steel Legion win. They beat the Orcs to an absolute drum all the time. And I love the yellows and things like that. I love their colour scheme. So yeah, I would be Steel Legion. I would do Steel Legion, but with grey overalls and suits and stuff. That would look really, really cool. Yeah, Steel Legion. What would be your perfect 40k match? And what would it be like? Number of players, factions, and scenery. Ooh, okay. 2 players. I'm a stickler for that, man. 2 players for me. Factions. I don't really have an ideal opponent. I would love to be a Space Marine fighting Xenos. That would be really cool. That harkens back to the old 40k and how it used to be. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Space Marines and Xenos is literally the start of the hobby. That's how we got started, right? So it would be a Xenos faction and Space Marines, and it would be a very close combat heavy game. I'm the kind of guy, I love close combat. It's just something that I've always got into. I love being in the face of the opponent. I love crossing blades. I love, like, you know, the more shooty there is, the more bored I am in a game. So it would be a very combat-heavy Xenos faction against me. And the tabletop would be not a cityscape. I would actually have a big Arctic landscape. I love the effect of blood on snow. That'd be amazing. So it'd be like an Arctic landscape. And so you'd have, like, in the centre of the field, you would have, like, a frozen lake. And then around that, you would have small hills and forests and, you know, rocky outcrops, things like that. So you'd have cover on the sides. And in the middle is this massive big mosh pit on the frozen ice. If I'm going to ever build a board to play on, that would be the board I would pick to play on. So, yeah. There you go. Good question. You've been putting a monumental effort on the channel, and it really shows. Thank you, man. Oh, cheers, man. Thank you very much. What a guy. Cheers. Thank you. Okay, and that is a booking for a talk. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you are on the Patreon, right, and you are giving $25 or more a month, you can book in specific time with me over a weekend, starting next weekend. So not this weekend, but next weekend, which is the weekend of the 10th. So, the 11th and 12th. From 5 to 10, so from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m, there will be booking slots available for an hour long. Get involved. We'll be just together talking. We can play video games. We can chill out. We can do whatever. And if I don't have any more bookings and we're chilling out, I don't mind if it goes on longer, to be honest with you. I'm just looking to get more involved with my patrons and talk to you guys on a more one-to-one basis. I now know 5 or 6 of you personally, which is amazing. But I'd like to get to know more of you because, you know, you're putting money directly into the channel. You should get more access to me, right, on the weekend. So that is there. Please book in if you are a patron. Don't let it go to waste. Okay, next one. Big one. Sorry, you could probably hear my voice going there. Just had a little sip of tea. Hi, North. I do have a question. Recently, a few friends of mine have become quite politically minded over the past few years, which is no bad thing, but they are becoming very sanctimonious and holier than thou with their general leftist and vegan outlooks. Jesus. I'm just a guy who wants to throw dice, and this is really hampering our gaming time, as not many people in the hobby store want to hang out or play with us. What should I do? I don't want to abandon my friends, but I also don't want to be tarred with the same brush. Cheers. I'm not going to say your name. Okay. This sucks, because if you're the only one who's not that way inclined in your group, you're the fly in the ointment, not them. And even though I'm on your side, I'm totally on your side, man. Politics should be left out of friendships and should be left out of everything. Politics should be left out of everything but politics. Do you know what I mean? They should be left out of everything but themselves. So, how would I put it? I honestly think breaking up with a man, if you're a man, like breaking up with one of your male friends is one of the most awkward things you can do in life. But it's a lesson that you need to learn as a man, is recognizing the toxic, idiotic individuals in your life and just going, nope, see ya. Like, I've had to do it before. You know, I've had to do it with friends who I then let back in later on because some of them have gone through a bad time. Some of them are, you know, when I say go through a bad time, they're going through a bad time and they don't want to be helped, right? And they keep repeating the same toxic cycle over and over and over, and it's bringing me down as well. Sometimes you have to recognize how fragile you are, because you're not strong all the time. If you're suffering from something like depression or anxiety, and someone's really bringing out the worst in you, then you need to, like, really examine that relationship and whether it needs to be a part of your daily life or not. Most of the time when I come across stuff like that, I err on the side of caution and I say it's not worth my time, right? And maybe hard to swallow, but it is. Like, it's not worth my time. I don't have enough time in the day as it is. I'd rather not spend my time being stressed. I had this very conversation with a friend of mine the other night. We were playing online games together, right? And we were coming up against some very toxic people when we were playing online who we didn't know, just randoms, you know, when you're playing online games. And we kept doing it. We kept coming across toxic people all the time. And it was really getting to me, and it was putting me in a really bad mood. And afterwards, I said to him, listen, man, I really like hanging out with you, but we may just have to book a time where we just have a Skype call or a Discord call, and I go and play Football Manager or something else that's chill, like a strategy game, whilst we're talking, because I can't do this anymore. It's ruining my mood, and it's not fair, right? I don't want to stop hanging out with you, but I want to stop doing this toxic behaviour. Now, this friend was very grown up, and he said, yeah, that's a really good idea, man, let's do that next time. And we are going to do that next time when we hang out. But if that person, and he's one of my best friends, if that person had said, no, I'd rather play online games, I'd say, well, listen, man, you know, we're still friends and all that, but we're not going to talk for a little while because I don't want to play these games, right? We're at an impasse. We're at an impasse now. So I will always invite you to come for a drink. I will always invite you to go out. But when I'm not seeing you face to face, we're probably not going to talk that much because I'm not going to be playing these games. It just, you know, I'm not willing to sacrifice my own mental health and well-being for the sake of somebody else. It's just not something I can do. It's a very selfish thing, yes, but sometimes you do need to be selfish. Sometimes you need to look inwards and go, listen, what do I need right now? And if what I need right now is not this, then I need to not do this, right? It's the very same thing with your friends. It's the very same thing. Firstly, I would have an honest and frank conversation about what's appropriate in the hobby store and what isn't, and what the hobby is for and what it is not. You know, I would congratulate them on their political views, fair enough. You know, they've got political views, they're very politically minded. That's fine, that's fair, no problem with that at all. No problem with their political leanings as well. If you're a vegan, hats off to you. You know, as long as you don't think it makes you a better person than everybody else around you, which most of the vegan friends that I have do think that, which is, you know, a shame. But like, if you're vegan, hats off to you. If you're on the far left, hats off to you. You know, again, as long as you don't think it makes you better than everybody else, and the sole protagonist in your own story, which a lot of my leftist friends tend to do. You know, annoying, but as long as you don't infect me with it all the time, and you don't talk to me and give me... Don't come for a pint with me and bring your soapbox with you. I'm not interested. I'm there to drink and put the world to right. I'm not there to talk about fucking politics. Same thing goes when I'm rolling dice. Now, as long as you're honest with them and you set out where your parameters are, if they're truly leftist and they're truly with that kind of an outlook of inclusivity and all that, fair enough. And by the way, being inclusive isn't leftist. Just saying. Being inclusive is being inclusive. I know people who are generally very right-leaning, you know, and they're very inclusive. They're really inclusive. In fact, they're like, listen, like, if I can convince somebody to like in their words, be sane and come over to my way of thinking, mate, don't care what you look like, where you come from, what your sexual orientation is, don't care. You're my kind of guy. That's inclusivity, right? It's not a leftist thing. Anyway, and it's something I hear all the time, is that you can only be inclusive if you're on the far left. It's not true. It's just not true. So, yeah. If they're truly inclusive and they're accepting of other people's problems, when you set out your parameters and you say, look, I don't want to talk about Jeremy Corbyn. I don't want to talk about all these things that you're talking, like, you know, down with the patriarchy and all that. I'm here to roll some dice. And that's what I want to do. Now, if this is not what this group is anymore, then I'll need to walk away. Because you're affecting my mental health, you're affecting what I enjoy about the hobby, and the hobby's really important to me. So I'm going to need to go do that with somebody else if you're ruining it for me. And right now, you are, because nobody wants to play with those guys. You're driving people away. Be honest with them, right? If they can't take that, and they don't want to take that, and they try and ostracize you, then they've made your decision for you, and you're done. You can call it quits, and you can walk away with your head held high, very happy that you gave it your best shot. And if they are truly inclusive, as they claim to be, then they'll accept that and try and tone it down for you. Brilliant. Okay, no problem. No problem. The only way I would say, generally I say the world shouldn't acquiesce to you. The only way I say it should is if people are infecting your hobby space. Like if you're in your hobby space and you're just there having a nice time, then somebody comes in determined to infect it with politics and all these things that shouldn't be there, then, yeah, it should acquiesce to you, because it's your hobby. Right? Oh, that was a rant and a half. Anyway, those are my questions done for the day. I'm going to go and enjoy my birthday because it's been a stressful week and I've got a few days off now. There'll be more Hobby Nightmares on tomorrow. It is pre-recorded, ready to go, and I might even have a video for you on Sunday. We will see. But for now, have a very happy rest of your Thursday. I love you all long time. I wish you all the best. Please stay strong. Stay with me, right? We're going to get through it together. We're going to do it. Don't worry about it. Love you all. Speak to you later. Bye.